with the right intention doesn't make it right. It is still wrong. As how we Muslim would have to say as niat tak halangkan cara. With this idea alone, it combats completely the idea of them being vigilantes. Okay, that's a very vague idea on how you see it, but I'm going to further explain on why vigilantes on its own is a really bad idea. Now, okay, first of all, let's put this question in the room. What are the responsibilities of the state to take in order to combat these criminals? Okay, we see that it is the responsibilities of these states in order to carry out this justice in their form of justice, and not just to simply neglect it and pass it down towards the people. We don't see how it is going to benefit them. Yes, we do see that they may counter and how they give fancy examples of criminals being scared of committing crime anymore. But we see in the further long run, it becomes even more harm. It's how they have came up here and even said it that law enforcers aren't adequate enough to take care of these crime areas. Then how do you think they're going to take care of these vigilantes when they start killing people? Well, just because they think they are in the wrong side. That is the question that I would like the government to answer. Now, moving on to the opposite side of the government, where they come up here and talked about how they want to catch criminals and commit justice, right? Okay, first of all, here's the question towards them. Who put a yardstick towards what is justice towards these vigilantes? They're not going to catch a raper who they expect to be a raper and sit down in a circle saying, well, we don't know, maybe we put him in a prison. No, they're not going to do that. Okay, let me give you a very recent case. In June 2014, where a 16-year-old boy in France was killed by a mob because these people overheard a rumor that the police came to his house and questioned him for being a burglar, which is, well, the police just went there and questioned him as being a burglar. These people take action, these vigilantes take action and murdered that boy who is condemned and innocent later on. Sit down. Now, this is the question that they came up here and also talked about how it's social contract. Now, if the government fails to protect these people and we should give the power to the people, we say no. If the government isn't adequate enough to protect the people, we say fix the law enforcement, fix the law, not just pass it to the people, which I will explain later on in my extension on why this is much more harmful towards the society. Now, and they came up here and give a fancy idea about how people will be scared to commit crime in the first place. Again, I ask you, if these law enforcers are so weakened that they can't even ensure that criminals aren't on the loose, how do you ensure that these vigilantes are not then being criminals? You see, you murder people just because he is the murderer. That does not make it right. Because we believe, in our stand of the opposition, is that whatever you do wrong, it is still wrong, doesn't matter your intentions are. You can't murder someone just because he committed murder. That is why we have the court of law which justifies what he does with proof. And this is how we see that if vigilantes were to be let loose around the society, there is no such justification. There is no court of law where people come to an understanding of the law and that these people are condemned wrong. But before I move on, yes, one of you.
Okay, right now you're just placing the justice of only a few examples of one people over the majority of people who aren't able to obtain justice for, if they're being raped or being killed. And we don't see this as justice.
Okay. If these people are being raped and being killed, can we see there's something that law enforcement have to do something about it? We cannot pass it down towards the people. As I said before, and they are so deaf to hear, is that who puts a yardstick on what justice is? Let's say you commit murder. Okay, yes, then you can say murder is an equivalent punishment. If they commit rape, well, are you going to rape them just for exactly, no. You're going to kill them either way. Let's say that person committed burglary, theft, we cost the life of a person. What is the vigilante going to do? They're not going to open the whole big book of law and decide what to do with them. No, they're just going to come up with the simplest decision, sit down, which is to kill the person because he is deemed wrong. That is it. That is how we say that this vigilante brings more harm towards these people compared to the law enforcers itself. Now, and this is to answer what Ibrahim talked about, is that these places with high crime rate areas have not enough police officers. Exactly, put more. That is it. Okay, if these people are so willingly to put themselves in order to fulfill justice, why not you suck them out into being police officers, law enforcers, which they do have restraint and code of conduct. This is why we see that if you actually really want to combat it so much, putting vigilantes isn't the way. Now, moving on. Okay, yes, before that.
Arman, in high-rate crime areas like Mexico, policemen are disincentivized to be actually good policemen. Less people want to become policemen because they're scared to become policemen.
First of all,
that's why vigilantism is important. Why is so wrong for you to actually put vigilantism in high-rate crime areas?
Alright, this is the question: is you For example, you came up here and spoke about how examples like Malaysia, and then you pull it all the way to Mexico. We don't see how Mexico and Malaysia are even getting in the same place. Exactly, no. Okay, if you want to retake in Malaysia, use an example of Malaysia, please. Okay, and answering that question about Syarif can say make rukuk tergangga. We do agree, rukuk tergangga is good. It prevents crime. It doesn't incentivize these vigilantes to go seek out criminals. That is why we say strong. We want to stop crime, but we don't want to let the society just propagate the idea of justice just because they deem right. Okay, now moving on to my extension. All right. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about how this allows the law enforcers to be even better. Now the people will not trust at all these law enforcers because why? Now they have the power. They are the law enforcers. Well, they think they are the law enforcers. They're just propagating the idea of what's right and what's wrong. This is why we see it is harmful. We deny the responsibilities of the state to ensure that this law enforcement to be better. We put the power in the people's hand, and hence these law enforcers are better off not existing because now the people are just going to propagate their idea of justice. Now moving on to my second extension is that how you propagate the idea of more chaos. Let's take example of a very recent case in the news, which is the Ferguson incident. Okay, let's say the police are committing damage towards the people, alright? And now these people are redeeming themselves that, okay, what? You know what? The law says that we have equal rights, therefore we will retaliate. Let's say these people attack the police, and then what is the police going to say? This is, how do you say that? This is going to be seen as that they are going against the police. They are going against the law enforcers that the state has put there in the first place. This is a crime on its own. As we all know in Christian school, if we go against the police, it is wrong. This brings back down to the Ferguson case. If let's say the people go against the police, upholding the idea of justice, of their equality as a citizen, then please government solve the case right then. Okay, this is it. What have we told you today? We have told you that this idea of vigilantism is a very bad idea in the first place. Doing something wrong just because of the right intention, it is still wrong. Second, it will bring more harm into the people in society. It will propagate more chaos, and this is very bad. And if the government whip can come up and explain to me why it's good, please do so. The third thing that I'll talk about is how this allows the law enforcement to be even better because now it is non-existent to them that their need of existing in the first place because now the people has the power. So with that, please send for yourself.